my Mustang for just a little over 10,000 miles now, and in today's video we're going to discuss my experience driving a 2024 Mustang GT for those first 10,000 miles. So first thing we're going to talk about is the cost to maintain the car, what I got it for at the dealership, gas, oil, and all the fun stuff. What I got the car for out the door at the dealership was $50K after taxes. The car was originally listed for $50K MSRP, but I knew my salesman personally. He helped me out a little bit. He knocked off $3K off of it, and I got it for 47 and some change out the door before taxes, and then of course taxes brought it up to 50. I did end up adding a warranty on the car for the engine and transmission, which probably brought it up a little bit more. I can't remember the specifics on what that cost exactly, but I know that monthly wise, I'm paying $770, I believe, and that is with me only having to put $5,000 down. So of course, if I would have put more down, it would have brought the price down monthly wise a lot more. I think probably like $100, but I was thinking along the lines of why not save that extra money and just pay this for now. It was in my budget, so I just said why not. Insurance on the car though, insurance is pretty expensive, I would say, to me, considering the fact that I don't think anybody else should do this, but I just did it because I didn't feel like paying any more than what I'm paying now. I marked my deductible with insurance up to $2,500, and that got me out the door with pretty much all the basics with insurance. At I think I'm at $220 with insurance right now, but that is only considering the fact that my deductible is $2,500, $2,500, and the higher deductible, the less your insurance is monthly. And again, I don't recommend that to anybody. It's just the fact that I'm like, I don't feel like doing this right now with insurance. And I think if I did lower my deductible down to like $750 or $500, I think that's the minimum that they have. My deductible, not my deductible, but my insurance a month would have been double, if not more. I think sitting around like the 500 range, and that's considering the fact that I have a perfect driver's record and I've never been in any accidents or anything like that. And insurance is ridiculously expensive. Gas wise, I fill up probably twice a week, if not 3 times. And gas in Texas for premium, which is 93, is $4 and a little bit of change right now. It bumped up recently. And so coming from an empty tank of gas all the way to full, sitting around like $60 to $65, and this is a 15.9 16-gallon tank, and I run through that easily just because I drive the car a little more aggressively than the average Joe, which blame myself for that. So I'm sitting around, jeez, just realized that I'm sitting around probably like $100 plus a week with gas on an average. And of course, that's me not filling up on empty every single week. I don't take my car down to E every time I need to fill up, but on average, I would say I spend around $100 plus a week. Oil changes with the car, I would say, considering that the car takes 10 gallons of oil, and that's $530, which I don't know if the oil type has anything to do with the prices, but I think $530 is pretty average for a lot of cars. Going to AutoZone or something and getting oil yourself, every 5 quarts for this car is like $40, and then the oil filter is $13, I believe, and that's just mobile. That's mobile one. So oil for me is around $120 after taxes. But I did end up finding out recently that oil changes at the dealership are only $100 for the car. So I think I'm considering just taking my car to the dealership every time I need an oil change, and just letting them do it, because for me to take it there and have them do it, not worry about the oil change, not worry about getting rid of the oil, rather than just doing it myself. So shout out to the dealership for having the oil at the price that they do, and I believe that they changed it at synthetic know if they put Mobil 1, but I know it's synthetic oil that they put in the car. So real shout out to them, because the prices are, considering the car and how much oil it takes, the prices are considerably reasonable. Next on my list that I had to talk about was parts on the car, but I haven't really looked into all the parts and aftermarket, pretty much aftermarket exhaust, aftermarket accessories for it. But from what I have seen, everything is a bit more expensive, just because of the fact that it's a brand new model, it's a brand new car, and everything has to be made specifically newer to build itself around the model of the car and get it to spec that it needs to be. So everything that's been built for the car that's aftermarket has been built recently in the past year. So just from what I've seen, some of the things are pretty pricey. Like a front lip that I seen, just like a normal one, was like $400 or $500. But that's only like one out of the few that I've seen. Some of them are cheaper, but the one that I wanted was $500. Exhaust wise, like the headers on this car, I know that the bolt patterns are new. I believe all the prices on there are like previous years, but I don't know if that goes for every single brand and every single header, because I know they're all built differently. But I think just from the previous years, the prices are the same, but the parts are not at all, because some of the things on this car are tweaked a little bit differently. So you have to buy the newer models of the parts rather than, oh, I want to go to Marketplace or find something else that's from an older model and put on this car. It won't work at all, just because the car is brand new. Some of the issues that I have with the car, they're not really major issues, but there's things you need to worry about when you're driving this car on a day-to-day basis, or just some of the things to look for. One of the issues that I did come across in my first couple months of owning the car was the recall. My car specifically, I didn't have to deal with the recall, but my model specifically did get a recall out for it, because I do own a manual and it dealt with the clutch line. I don't know how it works, again, because my car didn't have the issue that was going on. But apparently there was something going on with the something with the bolt not being properly placed or being out of place. I don't know what it was specifically, which is not the biggest deal if you don't have the issue. But for somebody that did have the issue, it caused the car to burst into flames, and pretty much your car is totaled after that, because you don't know if the car has that issue or not, because you won't know until it happens. And by the time it happens, your car is pretty much a big fireball. Another thing I would say, I wouldn't say this is an issue, but I would say it's something to look out if you want to get the car, which is some of the plastic that's on the car. I would say like the door panel on my passenger side, whenever people have been previously closing the door and opening it, I would say not opening, but whenever people have been previously closing the door, it's been making like a little flimsy noise, like when that plastic makes when it's like shaking or something like that. There's nothing in the door panel, so I know it's not anything that I've placed. But for somebody that's looking for a luxury version of the car to get, y'all will probably be looking at it more than just the average Joe. A known issue that I've made known before in the past videos that I had with the car is the clutch pedal and the restriction that it has. I'm only gonna touch bases on it, but the clutch pedal is a bigger issue that I've had throughout my ownership, throughout the first 10,000 miles. Hopefully Ford comes out with something in the future, or an aftermarket company comes out with something in the future to get rid of it. But it's just the delay that it has when you're dumping out the clutch. I've gotten used to it now, so it's not the biggest issue for me now after driving the car for 10,000 miles. But it's still an issue that you'll have, and you'll have to learn it and get used to it as you go. Comfortability wise, I would say just for me getting the cloth seats and the package that I have, I love it. I would rather not get leather seats, just because I feel like they're so much more stiffer, and me being in Texas, the heat is ridiculous, so I didn't want to feel that. But the cloth seats, I feel like they not hug you is the word I want to use, but I feel like they cover my needs. And sitting down, I'm a person that has lower back pain. Sitting in the car for maybe 2+ hours for me isn't comfortable, but a little 30-minute drive here or a quick trip to the store, I can say I'm pretty comfortable in the car and relaxed. The steering wheel, I enjoy it so much. It's not as thick as I wish it would have been. Pause. Wait a minute. For me, I'm a big fan of the flat bottom steering wheels that they have, and then just the rounded top design that they have. I wish I could control the car a little more with the buttons on the steering wheel, but it is what it is. It's a sports car. It's not meant to be a luxury car, but still, you have two buttons on here that don't do nothing, and they're just sitting there stiff. The software on the car, I think, is a big plus, and at the same time, it's not the most convenient in certain moments. So Ford likes to drop new screens for this car, and they just do it. I don't know how it gets done, because the cars don't have Wi-Fi, but they just probably send a signal, satellite, whatever, to the car, and then they drop a new screen. It's happened twice to me now. The only reason why I knew that they dropped the screen was because of social media. So the two screens that they did drop while I've had the car was the Classic and then the SVT Cobra. And if it's not a big update, Ford doesn't give you a notice. I did see that when they drop a big update, they'll let you know, and then you get a notification to your little Ford Pass app, and then it fixes whatever known issue that it had. The minus part that I hate about the car, and it really drives me crazy, is some of the connectivity software that's in the car is not the best at all. Sometimes I have issues trying to connect my phone to the car. It's really annoying, and sometimes it just won't connect at all. And I have to turn the car off, wait a little bit, and then let it turn back on, and then connect my phone, or just disconnect the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings from the car completely and delete the phone, and then that's how I can reconnect it and get Apple CarPlay and such for my case. It's kind of BS, but for all the technology that they added in the car, I really can't complain about just that one issue. But that's just the only, I'm just nitpicking right now, that's just the only issue that I've really had with the software in the car. Alright, the final thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is the performance. And hands down, by far, this car has shocked me with the performance of it. The transmission has shocked me. The motor has shocked me. Because as you know, this is the new 4th generation Mustang, including the motor. I think the only difference in the motor is that the oil pumps are better, I believe. Of course, the dual throttle bodies. Maybe a few tweaks here and there, but performance-wise, like I said, the car has shocked me a lot. Dealing with mainly because of the E40 mixture. I didn't know Mustangs and Ford products in general could do that, and it blew my mind with just, again, the instant power gain that it got. The fact that these cars can run E85 without a flex fuel kit, without any other modifications other than a tune after you do add it. Of course, this car can't because the tuning isn't available. But the fact that it can do that, I remember in the Camaro, you had to get a flex fuel kit in order to run E85, which essentially it costs more in the long run. But just the performance in general of the Mustangs or the Ford products, they amaze me. The MT82s get knocked so much, and I can see why. Just the fact that they're not as good as you would expect a manual transmission to be, but they're not poop. Like, they're not trash. I seen a MT82, I think it was a 3rd generation or a 2nd generation, with the motor had a Whipple on it, and it was pushing well over some power, and stock transmission is holding up. I've heard that transmissions just can't hold anything. I've heard that they're poop. I heard they're made out of paper mache, which it may be true, but a part of me now is thinking, after I've been driving it, that it's the owner. They just don't know how to drive. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect with driving, but I feel like they get a bad rep for themselves. Yes, they could be better, but I 100% think that some of the things that have been said are over-exaggerated. The exhaust, just the way it sounds, I think when I first got into muscle cars, the way this exhaust pitch is what I was looking for in the beginning. It's not too raspy. It's not too quiet. Coming from the dealership, it was perfect. Of course, as a car enthusiast, you want your car to be louder. You want your car to have that deep, just manly voice to it. But this car has it coming from the dealership. I plan on adding headers to this car, and hopefully it doesn't lose the tone that it has right now, other than getting louder. Hopefully it just keeps keeps it because I fell in love with it as soon as I heard it. Other than the regular performance just coming from the dealership, of course the car is making 480 horsepower. I think 420 torque. Of course the torque could be better, but I truly believe when tuning comes out for this car that these will be the name. This car alone of 2024 Mustang, the 4th generation, I think that this will be the thing to beat on the streets. I 100% believe that these cars will be monsters. They'll be devious, better than any previous car Mustang generation out there. Just because of what I've seen, the E40 difference. I have a buddy that added headers on his, and he's walking just built-in cars with tunes. We have no tune-up for the car, and this car is dogging so many other cars that have more capability to them than ours does. Other than that, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment down below. Hope y'all have a great day. Peace out.